Who am I and what is this? I'm going to do my best to make sure that this avoids being as navel-gazy as possible, nor do I really want it to be some overly professional brand manifesto. I do just want to share a little bit about what I hope this store becomes. I've been asked a few times recently about how did I get here or why am I doing this? And I guess the short answer is music and movies have always kind of been baked into my identity, or how I view my identity. For a long time, I've sort of worked in the orbit of creative people. And this is sort of like a natural extension of a lot of the different things that I've done in my past. Music and movies have always been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Some of my fondest memories from childhood revolve around music and movies. And as I grew up, I was definitely an avid collector. Movies being VHS to start, then DVDs. Music, honestly, got going with, I think I bought my first record as a kid, and then tapes and CDs. Much like the Hart family, I grew up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, though, so some of my references are going to be a little obscure. That being said, I did grow up frequenting places like Sound Surround and Future Shop and Sam the Record Man, HMV and Music World. Shops like Tramps had everything, music, comics, movies, all that stuff, or Recordland, which is still in existence, still kicking ass. And by the time I got to college, it's fair to say my movie and music binders, we used to have binders full of that stuff, were kind of bulging at the seams. Now, due to what I will generously say was a rather hands-off approach to my own personal education, I was only slightly literate when starting college, but I was influenced by the voices of a couple instructors along the way who kind of nudged me in the direction of writing about music. The causal relationship between how the dominoes fall in our lives is much more evident in hindsight than it ever is while you're going through it, but I think it's fairly evident now, looking back on things. Those instructors turned me on to just trying to write about music, and then from there I started blogging about music, and from there I started writing for an alt weekly once I graduated college, and a few other random places. But for the most part, I just did my own thing until I didn't anymore. I dabbled along the way in a few other music related things, I helped with a video team for a while, some photography, doing website work, PR stuff even, marketing. I even drove a band and did merch for a while. And then after that I had an on again, off again music blog for about a decade that I leaned into when moving back to Iowa. But all of this is really just to say music has been a cornerstone of my life since childhood. My relationship with movies is much more casual. I've been a fan since I was a kid. We were a big VHS household, utilizing whether it was Columbia House or BMG, whichever one, to do the mail order, and then places I mentioned, Tramps, stuff like that. Cash converters, like a pawn shop around us. They had a great selection that we always went for. But if you look at my Letterboxd account, there have been certain times in my life where I have taken it more seriously than others. But movies are always there as well. All that aside, why a store? Why make a store for this stuff? I guess I was raised with a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit along the way, and something like this has been on my radar for quite a while. While I was only working there a short period of time, I did help open a record store in 2013. And so I have that experience to piggyback off of. And a few years ago, when I first landed in Cedar Rapids, I did some writing for Little Village, and I wrote an article about the space that record stores were occupying within the state. One of the things that sticks with me now about that article, looking back on it, is the impermanence of experience. Point blank, you just never know when circumstances are going to change. And in the case of several people I spoke to for that article, their circumstances changed. 2 of those stores are no longer around whatsoever, and 2 have moved on to different owners. So I never really know when you're going to have an opportunity to make something work, and when you do, if that opportunity will come around again. If I'm pointing fingers at any one place or thing that is kind of in line with my vision, though, it's the McKay's chain in the South. I want to provide a welcoming atmosphere along with a remarkable selection at affordable prices. I want to make the act of discovering welcoming and affordable, inspiring a curiosity to experiment a little bit, trying something new or unknown in a way that doesn't sacrifice quality and will not break the bank. There's a few other things baked into this that I'll save for another day. I see the face of digital streaming changing in the future, just like I see the face of e-commerce changing. And I feel like a store like this might be positioned okay to fill a void that could be left as those areas of our lives shift a little bit. But it also just comes down to who I am as a person, if I can get personal for a moment. Putting all of this aside, if I'm being honest, I don't feel at home at public, but being out with other people is where my most cherished memories have happened. I'm a little bit of a recluse if left alone to my own devices. And truth be told, I'd probably be just fine if I kept on doing my online stuff. But that doesn't connect me with people. And that is something I think my life needs, and I think more people's lives need as we get more and more deeper tied in online. I need to be at a place outside of my office, and I think other people need to be at a place too. And so with that, I hope that this becomes a welcoming atmosphere that drives all of those values that I already outlined. And in the end, I think I would regret it if I didn't try to do this. So wish me luck. And if you're in the area, please stop by and say hi. Opening December 1st in Lyndale Mall, Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Flash a little razzle dazzle, that's what's up. Ragtag bunch bag launch.